This is Rebecca Monyei, and you're listening to the Nollywood Spotlight Show on Nollywood Radio France. And of course, I'm in Houston, Texas, USA, and with me is Cyprian Josson. Cyprian, tell the listeners where you're located.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm your host, Cyprian Josson, and I'm in France. I live in a wonderful city called Chartres. Chartres is known for its stained glass window cathedral, and this cathedral is how many years now? 800 years. So it's 100 kilometers away from Paris. So Rebecca, what do you have for us today?
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to love this. Actually, I personally didn't know this. My understanding of how this wonderful nickname came about was completely different from what I read today. So you guys definitely would love listening to this. So this information is on GhanaShowbiz.com, so you can definitely check it out yourself. And the title of this article is, it says on here, "My hubby gave me the nickname Sexy," says OMOTOLA Ekeinde. So the article says, many referred to the prolific and powerful Nollywood actress OMOTOLA Ekeinde as Sexy, but didn't know how she came about the name or its origin. The screen goddess has been widely known with the name and later created a sexy nation out of it. The Time magazine 100 powerful person in the world recently told CNN that her husband, Captain Matthew Ekeinde, not her fans, gave her the name she is now widely known for. According to her, funnily, it was my husband that gave me the name. That name is the pet name he calls me at home. That's what she told CNN. So OMOTOLA is one of the most successful stars in Nigeria. She has four grown-up children. Many budding stars see her as their role model, and I think that is absolutely true. She really is a role model for a lot of people, and I have seen her kids. They are fantastic. They're lovely, beautiful children. Fabulous family. So what do you think about that, Cyprian?
Yeah, she's a role model for so many African women, and not only in Africa, in the diaspora, because she's one of the most powerful. I think the Time magazine mentioned her as among the 100 powerful persons in
Right.
the world. Yeah, so
Right.
it shows us the role of African ladies today, because you can see that we have so many ladies today in Africa that have got their own businesses. They are, or already a lot of them are in the Nollywood industry, like OMOTOLA Sexy, that's what they call her. And again, she's a role model also to show how the African tradition is evolving. And then,
Right.
yeah, because so many years ago, you can see a lady having, an African woman having 4 children, and allowed, because of the tradition, you know, all the spider webs of tradition and so on, that will not allow you to leave the kitchen and then go for acting. Now
Right.
it shows us change. The world is changed. How the Nigerian society or the African society has changed and will continue to change. So and again, when you look at that picture, she's very beautiful. She's a very beautiful lady. Unfortunately, I don't know her private life, you see, but I know for the fact that the name OMOTOLA Sexy given by the husband shows that it's a happy home somehow.
A loving relationship.
Yes, loving relationship, like what you said, with 4 beautiful children. And again, she's given a wonderful image again of Africa and Nigeria. I think the government should do a lot of things to encourage young girls going to school, because you see there are so many places in Africa girls don't go to school. because they are girls. There's still discrimination, like what we just said in the last podcast. There are so many types of discrimination in Africa, especially some of them. Some of our listeners might be saying that I'm talking for women, but it's for my observation that women have roles to play in Africa. They go to the market, they come back to cook, they take care of the children, and again, the young girls might be given away to marriage quickly because they are girls instead of sending them to school. But now you have to look at OMOTOLA Ekеинде, and not only OMOTOLA Ekеинde, there are so many other women, like we talked about Genevieve Onaji in the last podcast also, and then we've got so many role models now, African women that are bringing change in Africa. So this is the way I look at it. And again, I think you're going to talk about the last flight to Abuja, where I saw her. I watched that movie in Paris, during the last during the last Paris Nollywood Paris Festival. So she's a wonderful lady, and we love you. That's the
OMOTOLA Ekеинде, one of the fantastic features about her is the fact that, as you said earlier, she really is a role model to young people out there. She has taken the Nollywood entertainment industry to a totally different level. Before, Nollywood did not understand the concept of sexy. We tried in so many different ways to be sexy, but OMOTOLA Ekеинde actually nipped that idea in the bud and made it a reality for a lot of people who are looking for a way to become sexy. And the fact that her husband was the one who gave her that name, that changes everything. So that goes to show that, the personality or the attitude that she's protruding out there to the audience, to her fans, is actually real. It's who she is. It's from the inside out. She's not trying to be something she's not. At home, she's called sexy because her husband finds her absolutely attractive and adores her. How much more, coming out and presenting herself as a strong, powerful contributor to her own household as well as the entertainment industry. So I absolutely understand and agree with what you're saying, Cyprian.
So I think she should be given a national honor because she's a real ambassador for Africa and for Nigeria, where she comes from, you see. And again, when you see her in different movies, you can understand the type of person she is. She's got a lot of skills, a very good actress, and then I think she's got a company also, if I'm not wrong. She's got a company? You're not very sure?
I know that she has a clothing line.
Yeah.
From what that's what I've been hearing from sources. She did joint venture with some designers in Nigeria. But as far as her being, she's just part of that creative group. But I don't really hear much about new designs or anything like that. So I think it was just like a moment thing that she was trying. But I know that she definitely is very, very well recognized here in the United States. She has done several independent films here in the United States, so she definitely deserves the honor that was given to her through CNN as top 100 most powerful persons in the world. She really is influential. Her voice is respected over here as well in Nigeria. So absolutely.
Now, she appeared, she starred in Last Flight to Abuja of Obi Monyei that I met in Paris. That was last year, and I interviewed him, such a very nice guy. And in that movie, in fact, I loved the character she embodied in that movie, and then this is a way again to show the type of lady OMOTOLA Sexy is, because when we think that she's got a family, and then she's such a very busy lady, and that gives you the impression, like what I was saying, the change in the Nigerian society. And again, there are other movies where we can find that change. When you watch Lekki Ladies, or you see there's a movie called Lekki Ladies, Lekki. I don't know if you watched
Lucky Ladies,
where they show that's the middle class, that shows how the emancipation of women. You know, when you look at that, when you watch that movie, there's no difference between what you see in the West and what obtains in certain class in Nigeria. I mean the middle class. You see, so don't you think there's a danger somehow that we might be shifting off from our own tradition to a more westernized tradition?
Excellent question, Cyprian, and a fantastic observation. I personally do not think it's a danger. I think it's a positive thing, because when we stay, as long as we stay true to tradition, as far as maintaining a certain culture, it is our culture and tradition that sets us apart from each other. So as long as we have that solid foundation, I think we're really good. But in order for us to understand traditions outside of our own comfort zone, outside of our own borders, we also have to express that in one way or another. And I think the art is one of the most influential and most respected way of expressing that. Last Flight to Abuja, I think, was a fantastic film, and I'm looking right here on Wikipedia about the movie itself, and I'm just blown away by all the facts and figures, which, by the way, Nollywood movies do not have. So I think in this case, in this particular case, Last Flight to Abuja, I think, opened up doors that were not normally available to the Nollywood entertainment industry.
You mean the film in which Omotola starred? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Omotola Ekinde starred in the film. She played Susie. You also have Akim K. Kazim played Adeshawa, and Jim Ike, the famous Jim Ike, played David. And there are many, many much more known faces in this film as well. But with Last Flight to Abuja, I mean, the statistical information on this movie is just mind-blowing. And I'm very, very proud of the people behind the scenes who took this movie, not just from behind the scenes, put them on screen, and even did better than that. They premiered it in Africa, they premiered it in Europe, to really show everybody what we are capable of doing. And this is all Nigerians putting such a collaborative, fantastic product out on the market that we all are proud of. I was working with a gentleman who was going to distribute this film, which he did help distribute the film, and it was just so wonderful to see how organized this group of individuals were. I was very impressed. And if you go on Wikipedia, it shows on there, let me read you what it says. It says, Last Flight to Abuja was welcomed with mostly positive reviews from critics. The film was praised for its brilliant cinematography and music score, among others. Most critics, however, cited that the computer-generated imagery and visual effects left a lot to be desired. The movie grossed, ladies and gentlemen, listen to this, the movie grossed 8 million naira first week of release and went ahead to 24 million naira, topping the chart in the West African cinema, beating Hollywood blockbusters such as Spider-Man. I went to go see Spider-Man. Think Like a Man. I went to go see Think Like a Man. Even The Avengers. The Avengers is one of the biggest DC comic books in the United States, and that movie made so much money. And Last Flight to Abuja beat that movie in the first week of premiere. Even Madagascar 3, the children's movie, which I also had to see due to my cousin. But that's a different story. I'm just saying. Like, you know, it says it was released in cinema in many cities, including Lagos and London. The movie was rated number 4 in the UK cinemas. And total box office for this film is 57,050,000 naira. Almost 60 million naira on one Nollywood movie. I'm so impressed. I'm just excited that we are able to do this. I want to see this more often. So to answer your question, Cyprian, if Western Infusion created this, by all means, all movies should have some type of Western infusion, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, because not all, if you research a lot of other Nollywood films, you will not see this statistical information available to us. You know, now researchers, script writers, cinematographers, even directors know the type of movie that would sell, that would make this type of money, because this information is out there for everybody to enjoy, and that is just wonderful.
Yeah, it's wonderful also because when you meet the producer, I met him in Paris, Monyei, such a very nice guy that will make you to laugh and laugh. We had a wonderful time together. And again, for our listeners, I have an exclusive interview I did with him in Paris, which I'm going to bring out this week also, so that you can find out the person, the person behind this movie, how he wrote the movie, how he was inspired. In fact, I had almost 30 minutes or more with him, and then we went into the cinema theater to watch his movie. And again, he talks to the French audience, you know, answering their questions. So I have that audio. Your radio, Nollywood radio has got wonderful archive for you when it comes to Last Flight to Abuja. I mean, the man who produced the film and the writer, because himself, he said he's a writer, producer, he's everything. That's why and again, you see him laughing, you see. So I'm very happy for you, Obi, because we had a wonderful time in Paris, and such a very nice person. And I think I'm not surprised, because he's very resourceful, very, very industrious. I'm not surprised that these figures to hear these figures you're measuring, because the man behind the scene and in front and back of the camera is such a very wonderful person. And that was not his first movie. You know, he in that interview that you're going to hear, listeners, he talked about The Mirror Boy. That was his first movie. You know, the movie that put him up on the Nollywood, what do I say? On the Nollywood scale, you know, we put him very high, because he had disappointments when he reached Nigeria, thinking that he would be accepted by the industry. Then he went back home, and then he went back to London, because this is where he's based. And again, so what many people don't know is that he's a lawyer. He's trained lawyer, you see. He did theater arts and so on. So I think last Abuja movie, I watched it, and I'm not surprised to hear what you just said. And again, seeing the role that was given to OMOTOLA Sexy, such a very nice role of a strong character, showing a woman with character, not and again, you cannot differentiate her with the type of women you find in the West. But there's one thing. I think there's a big difference when we come to women in Nollywood. I would like us to talk about women in Nollywood, because the role OMOTOLA played Last Flight to Abuja, I think it was a very good role given to her. You know, they were in the plane. I don't want to give everything away. And again, there was a problem with the husband that called the husband because of the job. they were in two cities apart, one in Abuja, one in Lagos, and so on. But now that's a very good role for a lady that's very powerful, a CEO. But now when you come to Hollywood movies, what do you say? What can you tell us, Rebecca, about the role of women in Nollywood movies? There's so many saying that
Right.
it shows, it reflects the society, the Nigerian society, of how women, some women, not all, because we say that a good number of them have reached to a certain extent that they, like OMOTOLA, that they have to be a role model. But a good number of women, again, are maltreated, beaten up
Right.
somehow, and they suffer so many type of maltreatments, if I should use that word again. So, but we find that in Nollywood movies. So I was talking to a friend one day, and he told me that's how it reflects the Nigerian society. How true is that statement?
I think it's very true. Unfortunately for Nollywood at this particular moment, it seems we only understand two languages. Either the less privileged didn't go to school, live in a village, or the educated woman who happens to have even own a business, but not fighting for her right to have an opinion in their marriage. It's usually the problem with, it's either the woman is too I wouldn't say too independent, but more like more is too educated. I don't, it just seems that way to me. Like, let's say, for example, a woman who has a great education, who has a great job, will still have to fight for the to the ability to make certain decisions in the household. You see what I mean? So a lot of the times those movies are wrapped around that idea. A young girl in the village who does not have an education, has bad families, they're trying to, bad relatives who she is living with, and they're trying to marry her off age, and for some reason or another she's not approving, or she's even just trying to make ends meet, or trying to live, period. So she's having to go through different situations. And that really is the reality of Africa. I know a friend of mine who, her mother passed away when she was little. And because her parents passed away when she was little, she tried staying with her immediate aunties to, for them to take care of her, and they all refused. It was like, they were like, oh, the burden is off our shoulders. Now, who's going to say we didn't do what we were supposed to do? So now this young girl is left out there in the world trying to fend for herself, trying to eat, trying to take care of herself, and ends up meeting with this guy who gets her pregnant. I mean, it just fell down the hill from there. You see what I mean? So this is the reality, and something like that you would see in a Nollywood movie. Or is the educated lady who has a great job, but the husband is abusive. Why is the husband abusive? Because the wife wants more liberty, wants more freedom, wants to be able to contribute to the marriage, and the husband thinks with that type of liberty, with that type of authority, she's gonna somehow manipulate the marriage, and who knows what those guys think about. But I'm just saying, it's just something of that nature, and it's so real. So something like that, it took this last flight to Abuja that we were talking about with OMOTOLA Ekinde. It talks about an African living abroad and how they're dealing with that whole scenario, which is really, I think it's a positive message. I'm so happy they told that story. It's definitely different from the norm, and we need that. We need that Western infusion to let people know that, there's a reason why these American women are so successful. There's a reason why these American families are so successful. It's because both of them work together. Both of them agree on things. Both of them share the responsibility of their household. It's not just one person. That is too much work for okay, imagine a woman who has 4 children in the house. You expect her to wake up early, take care of the kids, bathe them, cook the food. You want a hot meal every day when you come home. Your clothes gotta be clean. Your car gotta be. I mean, there's just so much burden on one person when you, the guy going to work, have that same responsibility, but is able to leverage that responsibility between all your workers. Everybody has to take responsibility for their own job, maintaining their employment. These are children that cannot fend for themselves. The relationship is not fair, you know. And I think movies like Last Flight to Abuja really exposes that really backwards mentality and put it to the table. That's not the way, you know. The Western countries, I've had a lot of experience, and they've found the secret to why it works. You know, and it's something that we definitely need to look more into.
Yeah, but it doesn't work for all of them, Rebecca, because here in France, for example, in 10 marriages here, you have 5 divorce. You see, so it's still difficult for them.
It is different.
It's still difficult.
It's misunderstanding between the both couples. It's not, when you're talking about Europe, you know, I guess we can have everything we want. But when you talk about Europe, it's them that you have abuse in the relationship. And if there is abuse in the relationship, there actually is an outlet. There is some type of governing authority that can take control of that situation, separate the person being abused from the abuser. In Africa, there is no such law. There is no such guidance.
No.
You see what I mean? So it's that on top of misunderstanding between both couples.
Because the problem is that the man, let me take the Igbo tradition, the man has to pay the dowry to get married, to marry the lady. That means the ladies more or less is like an object for him. And again, there's no divorce in Igbo land. There's no, except for the new marriages. I mean, the modern middle class and high class ladies now in Nigeria. But when you go to the village to marry a young girl, she's there for life. She cannot say no. You see, and again, she doesn't even know that the man has to, like here, for example, in France, you have to participate because every morning both of you will go to work. So you can't leave, like what you said, you can't leave the job for your wife, or your wife cannot leave the job for you alone. So everything is shared, you see. So I think we still have a long way to go. They have their own time also in France, because when I went to some museums in France, before in France, they were paying dowries, but it was the opposite. It was the lady that paid the dowry for the man.
Wow.
So that's just the opposite. And then there were traditions. So you can see the evolution of the society to where they are now. We have almost 100 or something years to go before we can come to this level where you can have freedom of speech, you can have less discrimination. I'm not saying there are no discriminations here, you see, and again, women can have their place. But anyway, when you look at the population, world population, women are, you are greater. The women are greater, and like I said in the last podcast, you see, you have many girls in the universities, a lot of CEOs, and again, that's going to bring a lot of change in Africa. But now the problem is, if the girls are not going to school, there will be no change. Nothing can change. And again, if the Nollywood movies continue to portray the images where women are beaten in the movie, and then the seats, and then man, I've never seen a man in the kitchen. Yes, I've seen 1 or 2 movies, a man doing cooking in the kitchen, you see. Yeah, but
it's usually possession. He's possessed, or you know, he's trying to make up for something really bad he's done. I mean, it's not normal though.
Yeah,
it's not a normal thing.
I think somebody hear me, a good number of Africans that are going to listen to this podcast in Nigeria and Africa, hear Mr. Josson speaking, they see he's crazy. See, this one is.
Yes.
No.
But Cyprian, look at the diary thing you were talking about.
Yes.
Even here in America, some families do pay diary, but we never pay like an exorbitant amount that would somehow equate to the person that you're marrying.
Yeah.
Only in Africa that would happen. You have to buy a car,
Yeah.
a cow, a this, that. So the guy really does think that you are his possession because he bought a car for you. You know, he bought 2 cows for your mom. You know, he bought all these things for your family. So definitely he has every right to do however he pleases with this person. If he wants to kill her, he can. If he wants to do whatever, he can, because he owns this person. He paid for it. But in America, in marriage, if they were gonna pay dowry, it would be like $1, just a symbol. You know, that's not the amount you pay. And I think that's the reason why we really do need some type of Western infusions in our movies, because in Europe, we respect each other, not just, women having more liberties to do a lot of things African women can't do, but it's just some of the things I see in movies. I'm sorry, I love Nollywood to death. Nollywood Radio France is all about Nollywood. Nollywood Spotlight is all about Nollywood. But when you say something that I do not agree with, I will not watch your movie. I will not. I don't care what you say. I'm not gonna watch it because you are not about, to make women feel like they're objects. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that you have the right to actually pay. And the families who ask for those things. I mean, I'm not the creator of those rules and tradition, but I'm just saying, like, really think about the person that's going to that husband's house. Think about the life that person will have to live after you've enjoyed all the money, after you've enjoyed the cow. What happens to the young lady that you've placed in this stranger's house? Like, what happens after that? I think they don't think about stuff like that.
So we're going to round up with the almost sexy family, or OMOTOLA's family, because that's the ideal family. That it's a role model family, if you want, and she's and again she's a role model. I think a good number of middle class, because they are also in the middle class, you see, should look at that family where she's got 4 children. She's got the liberty to star in so many movies, and all after that, the children are in good shape, and then such a very happy family. I think this is what we're talking about. And again, the next thing is for a good number of charitable organizations that can help young girls to go to school, because without education, they will live in total slavery. You see,
true.
It's blindness. You see, there'll be no financial liberty, because the moment you don't have that financial liberty, now what's going to happen is that you get married quickly, and then your parents and then you'll be stuck in that marriage if it doesn't work. And again, there is one article I read just that's going to shock some people now. They said a good number of marriages, that the modern time now, that marriages at times can expire. You see, you can have expiration dates.
I'm sorry, what? Repeat that. Where? What country?
It's one article I read, but it's in a way to say you can divorce. You see, he said in Africa that there should be expiration date for marriages, expiration date, because I think the writer, what he's saying is all this type of abuses. I think that's what prompted him to put up that article, saying, okay, if there be abuses maybe from both sides or from one side, then okay, you guys can put a trial period of 5 years, and then you can renew the marriage as it goes on.
Then we can renew for another year.
You can
one more
year. For 1 more year.
Right? Wow.
So before we go on cock and bull, because stories, how do you round up the conversation?
Wonderful. There is a project out there. It's called Slum to School. Now, talking about funding organizations that actually fund children going to school. Slum to School is an organization that assists children in the slum to go to school. They'll do whatever it takes, whether it's providing transportation, providing food, providing supplies for school. I mean, it really is a fantastic project. I had the opportunity to be a part of something that they were doing here in the United States to raise money, and I was just blown away by how they were able to pull this up. They are part of the UN Habitat. They also with the UNESCO in 2013. I'm seeing we have some in Nigeria. Definitely keep up the good work, Slum to School. And I personally, and also Nollywood Radio France, to see what we can do to assist you guys in continuing to do what you're doing for the Nigerian children in slums. All right. So now we're back here. If you want to find out what we just talked about, we talked about Omosexy, the nickname Omosexy given to OMOTOLA Ekinde. This article says that the nickname was given to her by her husband, not the Nollywood entertainment industry. We want to know what you think. We want to know how you feel about that. If Ghana Showbiz got the story right, or if you think otherwise, we want to hear from you. So visit NollywoodSpotlight.blogspot.com. I will be posting some pictures. I will also post a copy of this podcast on there. And if you have not visited this website, you have to visit it. It is NollywoodRadioFrance.com. We also have articles on there that you are going to love and enjoy. And thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate each and every one of you.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. I enjoy every time we have this type of conversation. Never mind the distance that separates us. You are wonderful. I think our listeners will reckon with me, will agree with me that my colleague Rebecca has a wonderful voice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cyprian. You too. I think we work really well together, and I'm just blessed to be on this show. And to be working with you. You are a great producer, a fantastic editor, a great radio station, and I'm not just saying that because we work together. I really mean it, Cyprian. I think we're doing a great job here, and I love it.
Okay, thank you very much, and then thanks for listening. You are listening to Nollywood Radio France. Bye-bye.